So welcome back to another Life in the Day of a PT. Right now,
PT life.
right now we're heading to class and we're a little bit late. So we're just gonna cut to when we're in there.
Cervical flexion. Testing position should be in sitting, 0 degrees head rotation, and lateral flexion. Stabilization should be shoulder girdle and chest. Fulcrum should be at external auditory meatus. Proximal arm should be in parallel, perpendicular to the ground, and distal should be in the base of nares. End feel should be firm. Normal values are from 0 to 45 degrees.
Last but not the least, always look at the measurements at eye level. For cervical extension, fulcrum is on the external auditory meatus, proximal arm is on the parallel or perpendicular to the ground. Distal arm should be on the base of nares, and feel should be firm. Normal values are from 0 to 45 degrees. Cervical lateral flexion. Testing position should be in sitting, head in neutral position. Stabilization should be in shoulder girdle, chest, and mandible to prevent collateral rotation. Fulcrum is on C7, proximal arm, spinous process of thoracic vertebrae, parallel to the ground. Distal arm should be on vertex of head, end feels should be firm, and normal values are from 0 to 45 degrees. Cervical rotation. Testing position, sitting. Stabilization, shoulder girdle, and chest to prevent thoracic and lumbar spine. Fulcrum is on the center of cranial aspect. Proximal arm is parallel to the imaginary line between the two acromion processes. Distal should be tip of nose, and end feel should be firm. Normal values are from 0 to 60 degrees. Thoracolumbar flexion. Testing position is in standing position. Cervical, thoracic, and lumbar spine should be at 0 degrees lateral flexion and rotation. Patient should be asked to forward flex. Stabilization should be stabilized by the pelvis to prevent anterior tilting. Keep knees straight. Fulcrum is not available. Initial landmark is at C7. Subsequent mark should be at S2. End feel should be firm. Normal values are 10 centimeters or 4 inches. Thoracolumbar extension. Testing position is in standing. Cervical, thoracic, and lumbar spine should be at 0 degrees lateral flexion and rotation. Patient should be asked to bend backwards facing the ceiling. For stabilization, stabilize the pelvis to prevent posterior tilting. Keep knees straight. Fulcrum is not available. Initial landmark is at C7. Subsequent mark should be at S2. End feel should be firm. Normal values are from 2 to 4 centimeters. Lumbar flexion using modified Schober's technique and a tape measure. Testing position should be in standing. Cervical, thoracic, and lumbar spines are at 0 degrees lateral flexion and rotation. Patient should be asked to forward flex. Stabilization is to stabilize the pelvis and prevent anterior tilting. Knees should be kept straight. Fulcrum is not available. Proximal is in the lumbosacral junction. Distal should be 10 centimeters above and 5 centimeters below. End feel should be firm, and normal values are from 5 to 6 centimeters. For lumbar extension using modified Schober's technique and tape measure, testing position is in standing. Cervical, thoracic, and lumbar spines are at 0 degrees lateral flexion and rotation. Ask patient to bend backwards to face the ceiling. Stabilization is to stabilize the pelvis to prevent posterior tilting and keep knees straight. Fulcrum is not available. Proximal should be at the lumbosacral junction. Distal is 10 centimeters above and 5 centimeters below. End feel should be firm, and normal values are from 5 to 6 centimeters. Lumbar flexion using modified Schober's technique and a tape measure. Testing position should be in standing. Cervical, thoracic, and lumbar spines are at 0 degrees lateral flexion and rotation. Patient should be asked to forward flex. Stabilization is that to stabilize the pelvis to prevent anterior tilting and Keep knees straight. Fulcrum is not available. Proximal should be in the S2. Distal should be 15 centimeters above. End feel should be firm, and normal values are from 5 to 6 centimeters. Lumbar extension using modified shoulders technique and a tape measure. Testing position is in standing. Cervical, thoracic, and lumbar spine should be at 0 degrees lateral flexion and rotation. Ask patient to bend backwards facing the ceiling. Stabilization should be stabilized to the pelvis to prevent posterior tilting. Keep the knees straight. Fulcrum is not available. Proximal is at S2. Distal is at 15 centimeters above. End feel should be firm, and normal values are from 5 to 6. Thoracolumbar lateral flexion. Testing position should be standing. Cervical, thoracic, and lumbar spine should be at 0 degrees lateral flexion and rotation. For stabilization, stabilize the pelvis to prevent lateral tilting. Knees should be kept straight. Fulcrum is not available. Initial landmark is at T1. Subsequent mark should be at S2. End feel should be firm, and normal values are from 0 to 35 degrees.
So, after a long day, I actually was able to practice all techniques for goniometry of the cervical region and the thoracolumbar region. So actually today, I actually asked people how goniometry is helpful in their field. So hope you enjoy the video. How is goniometry helpful in our
I
field?
think it's helpful for our field kasi if we know the range of motion of our patient, we can know ano yung magiging treatment natin sa kanila, yun yung magiging basis natin for our future plans for them.
How does goniometry help us in our field?
I think that if you find the right angle,
You'll find your
you'll find the
What is range of motion, Levi?
Range of motion is the amount of available movement of a certain joint using a goniometer to know the angle.
How does goniometry help us in our field?
it helps us measure range of motion of our
That's for today, so I hope you enjoyed the video. See you in my next vlog. Bye!